to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler. Good to be back live today. You know, folks, I haven't done just a one-show week probably since 2021. So it's been a very busy week. I had a lot of stuff to do. Just got a lot of bills to catch up on. So welcome back to the live program here. Supposed to have the Mad New Yorker in here shortly on this 27th day. We're almost in the month of March. I can't wait for March Madness to start. Got the NFL Combine going on right now. James Pierce, by the way, wow, a Tennessee edge rusher, ran a 4.540. But I wanted to talk about that Tom Brady, Matt Stafford meeting in Montana. Go over that. Luka coming back, playing against his old team. We'll discuss that. Are the Knicks legit? Or excuse me, are the Cavs legit? The Knicks, man, what are they going to do? They need to play some defense there, losing against all the good teams and more. Got the Mad New Yorker supposed to come on here. He usually will be here shortly. But let's take our first and only break, and I'll be back here, hopefully with the Mad New Yorker, and we will hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program.
Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk for America.
Okay. I think Carlos needs me to resend the link. So stand by here. We'll be right back shortly.
I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports and host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show. You're watching the sharp-dressed man and the big story breaker, Robert Butler, on Sports Scope, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on National Streaming Sports.
All righty then. I sent him that other link. Sorry about that. I sent this back to Carlos. Let's see if he comes in. But anyways, okay, so let's start here. You can see I'm a little rusty there, folks. So much to get into today. Okay, so Matt Stafford's salary is $40 million. Now, the information I found out today that he's the 15th highest paid quarterback with 2 years remaining on his including this season on his contract. Now, he's 37. He's a little actual younger than I initially thought he was. But I also read today that if you franchise a quarterback, that quarterback's pay, which is within the top 5, is $40 million. It doesn't sound like he's getting the raw end of the deal, but I'll go ahead and bring the Mad New Yorker here. Well, we got to get a crowd ready here for him. Although we may get the Boo Birds out since he didn't find the link here earlier. Just kidding. Mad New York. Looking at this, did you see the story about Matt Stafford meeting with Tom Brady in Montana? Basically a recruiting trip for him to go to the Raiders. Now, the Rams have gave him pretty much
autonomy.
A carte blanche to go out and seek a trade.
Right.
I don't know if they meant for him to do that or they meant for his agent to do it. But what do you think about that? What's your thoughts on why do you think Stafford – do you think Stafford really just wants to leave California because of the taxes and he just wants a big chunk of money? Or do you think he really just thinks he's being slightly underpaid and wants to stay in L.A.? What do you think there?
Well, so there's a lot of things going on here to unravel the whole Stafford situation. Because we talked about the Giants looking to get him. And
yes.
And I mentioned to you that the price was too steep as far as giving him too many first rounders and too many draft picks. And I say that because the Giants can build and get more depth and not just get a quarterback. Now, I can't sit here and say that he's a quarterback that shouldn't be paid. He should be paid. He took a team, even though their defense is what helped them the first time they won a Super Bowl. He still was a quarterback to take the team there and get it done, right? So he's got a Super Bowl win.
They extended him 4 years though.
Yeah, they extended,
and he's got two of them years left. I don't know if he was backstage, but this year and next year. So it feels a little premature for Stafford to want to make this move, don't you think?
Well, here's the thing. Even with the extension, he should have got a little bit more love or a little bit more money for the mere fact that he took two teams, one that was supposed to be a rebuilding team, back to a playoff, right? And then
last year,
and then even the year before that, they weren't supposed to do as well as they did with all those injuries that ended up happening, and even though some of those guys now they were in the playoffs. So he's got a Super Bowl win and two playoff appearances under his belt in Los Angeles. And I think it's just the fact that they didn't just sign him right away and show him the respect that he deserves, because he played to get a contract. Like, he's at that age where he has to play to get a contract, right? So, and he didn't do what Russell Wilson did, right? The first time he was in Denver, he actually did something and made moves and did what he was supposed to. He did his job. Now Russell Wilson, he went somewhere else and he did a little bit better. In Pittsburgh, a little bit better, I guess. But I don't know. Like, if I understand what he's thinking, and someone like Dak is getting paid some of the top money in the NFL, and he's actually done more than what someone like Dak Prescott's done.
Yeah, there's a $20 million difference there,
right?
Do you think? I mean, that's such a good situation though with Sean McVay.
Yeah, but you don't. Right, it's a good situation, but you have to get what your value is, and he doesn't feel like he's getting his value. And I'm sure that's what his agents out there trying to do too. Is like you got to get these guys, because what happens is then these teams can turn around and offer less money to a different type of person to come in to play quarterback. Do you get what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
And I think that's what the agents also put in your head. Like, bro, what you've accomplished, 10 other quarterbacks who are getting paid more, or you're getting paid less than, they've done less and they're getting paid more. So this is a money market move more than it is anything else. And if he stays in LA, then he should get paid. If he moves on, he's going to get paid. Regardless of what he does, he needs to get paid for what he's been able to accomplish for himself. Because that's why.
What do you think he wants? Does he want more than what Dak's getting?
I think someone who's played more, who's done more on the field and has done more for his team should get paid more than I'm sure that's the person whose name he throws right off the bat. Right? If you're a quarterback, think about it. If you're a top-rated quarterback looking to get paid and you're moving to another team, and you've played better than Dak Prescott in the last 2 seasons, and on top of that, you're a Super Bowl winning quarterback, you have to throw that name out. Like, there's nobody else that you can be like, well, look at this guy. You're not going to throw Kyler Murray's name out there. You're going to be like, no, look at this guy. Look at him in Dallas. He's still a quarterback. He's getting paid one of the best, and he hasn't done what I've done in 4 years. He hasn't done in 3. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, what would you pay him? Well, you would pay him $60 million.
Right. I mean, so and like I know people are like, well, don't be a hypocrite because you don't want him on the Giants. It's like, yeah, I don't want him on the Giants if the Giants have to overpay him or pay what his value is. Like, I don't want, because then the Giants, they put themselves in a stranglehold and not be able to pick up more players or sign other players because they just signed a Matthew Stafford. Again,
do you really think okay, if you're the Giants and Les Snead with the Rams calls you and says, well, Carlos, you're the now newly acquired general manager of the Giants. What are you offering for Matt Stafford if you're the Giants general manager?
Probably a third in future picks or a player. Do a player for player, like a defensive player maybe, or but you stay away from you can't give him a first round pick. You just can't.
Right, that's true. They can't give him the number 3 pick overall.
No, they can't.
Especially the fact that he contemplated retiring last year, because you still got to pay this man.
That's right.
And he's 37.
That's right.
You got guys like Brady was kind of an outlier at 45, but you got Breeze. Right at 40 there, maybe a little over 40. Who was the other guy? Rivers. So if you get a good 3 years or 4-year commitment out of him, would you give them like a compensatory pick or something like that? Say if the guy plays 3 years from now, would you give him another 3rd round pick?
Right. So the caveat is
3rd year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to play 6 games at minimum 6 games every year for the next 3 seasons. Right, minimum, right?
Yeah,
and then because we the age and the likelihood of being injured, so you can't just be like, yeah, you gotta play all 14.
No,
right? But no, I'm saying
14 games.
What I'm saying is that every season you got to play at least half of them, right? At least half the games.
Yeah,
there has to be. There's some underwriting and caveat there that you got to have.
Would you flip your 3rd and 4th round pick for a guy like that, and maybe a future? Because the Giants are picking really high. The Rams went to the playoffs; they're picking really low. See, I think you could do that. You could do compensatory, something like that. They're not. Colin Cowher said, "Well, give him a 3rd." I'm not giving him the 3rd pick overall.
Yeah, that's like the minimum. That's like the.
That's if you're the Rams. Yeah, you would love that, wouldn't you?
Right, but you're not. If you're the Giants, you don't touch the draft picks. You go straight up for a player,
especially them first 2 rounds.
Like what do the Rams need that the Giants have?
They got some pretty good upfront guys.
So
they would love Andrew Thomas, but then who's going to block for Stafford?
See, so that's why the Giants move on from him, because there's no.
The Giants have been mentioned.
Right. That's why they moved on from it, because there's nothing that you can give the Rams
What do you think about the Raiders with all their money? You got Brady pushing. They've got a left tackle too. They've got Brock Bowers.
You know, they also got a guy in the defender that I'm not sure still wants to be there.
Well, he might if Stafford comes there for 3 years. If Stafford says, I'll give you 4 years, and the Raiders say, okay, they're offering you 40, we'll give you 50. We want to backload it so we can really load this team up in the next 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah,
and try to take a run at a deep playoff run.
Right, and the way you say it sounds like he's with the perfect person in Tom Brady, because Tom Brady is the master of all contractual agreements.
Yes,
and pushing down.
He signed the perfect contract for Tampa. I remember we talked about that then.
Yeah, so
back in 2020.
If I'm the Raiders,
21 or whatever,
and the Raiders have less to lose and more to gain by getting Matthew Stafford than the Giants would in the situation, right? So, because the thing is, this guy he's playing in Las Vegas. He's got to sell tickets to see for the Raiders. You know, to like
Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll. You got a Super Bowl winning coach.
Yeah, so and a guy like Stafford will immediately make you a playoff contender at least at minimum. And he's got a blanket in Bowers already, so
Yeah, and they can use that first round pick. I would love to get, if I'm the Raiders, I'd love to get that T-Mac guy from Arizona, University of Arizona. Maybe he falls at him. What are the Raiders picking sixth?
They would get a few guys that would follow Matthew Stafford, or that know that Matthew Stafford's playing there. There would be other players that would go there. Now, not the younger players, but older players that can have a big effect because they know Matthew Stafford. This is and again, I it's not that I don't want him to be a Giant. It's that I don't feel like the Giants should spend more than they can get at this moment for.
Yes, heck
Stafford's
no,
a gamer, bro. He's, he plays when he's
they're picking sixth. Yeah, Raiders are sixth and Giants are third. Yeah,
he plays hurt sometimes. Like he's a gamer, man. He's a competitor, and he'll change your offense for sure. He'll make your offense a little bit more like he'll make it faster, right? Because he likes to sling the rock, but he's also he's quick minded. So and he'll run. He's not gonna run for yards, but he's gonna run and not give away the ball, right? So
he's younger than I thought. He just turned 37.
Yeah, but he's been through some things in Detroit. Even in LA, he had a few injuries, but
he's got the elbow. Yeah,
you can't, as a Giants fan, you can't just give away a pick to.
Are they really hyping that up there on the radio?
It was talked a lot for the first few days when there was.
Oh wow!
It was like,
it's got Malik Neighbors to throw the ball to.
Yeah, but
and then you got a left tackle there.
There's no
fair defense. I mean, you could possibly make that argument,
Yeah, but you go and you're still a 7-8 win team. You still have to make changes. Like, so you only win 2 extra games with him on your team, theoretically.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, but if I'm Stafford, I know the Jets may call, but I don't know if I want to play for Aaron Glenn. I want an offensive-minded head coach, or a Chip Kelly. He's pretty successful as an offensive coordinator with the Raiders.
Yeah,
I just got to just out of LA, man.
I'm surprised at the Rams, man. They did pretty poor job. Like, they usually do pretty good about paying people and making sure. But
don't you think they're going to find a number that they can agree with and just kind of keep the guy?
I mean, for his sake, I feel like the best fit is there for him. In LA, it's just it's a numbers game for him. That he's getting older, and then the thing is, it's the Rams are always about getting younger, and that position is one that I feel like they're ready to see what they can move.
Well, the talk would be that they would get Rodgers and then get draft a guy.
I mean, for that, you just keep Stafford because Rodgers is going to be a totally change of culture. Like, he'll be a culture shock. He's not going to be.
Well, maybe Rodgers won't go for that ridiculous amount of money. Rodgers' stock is down. Maybe he goes for 25.
Can you imagine you go from a huge competing, like, first down go getting guy, and I'm not saying that Stafford is better than Rodgers, but
Maybe he is right now because he's 4
and
years younger.
then you go and you get someone like Rodgers, and then Rodgers going there be like, oh well, I don't know if I can play in this system, and just I don't know if I could coach that. Like I don't know if the head coach.
I think Rodgers is a legit backup plan for them because we know he's going to be a free agent
for the LA Rams.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what numbers they come up with. Let's see. What else did I send you? Should we go to the back to the? Oh well, we'll stay in NFL. We'll go back to the NBA. What's your thoughts about the Titans? This has turned into a thing now, letting Harold Landry seek a trade. And remember, I talked about that in the offseason or during the season that the Titans at 30 years old should look to get younger, and they would save $10 million if they got his contract off their books, maybe get a decent draft pick for edge rusher Harold Landry. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think they should have just waited to the draft so they could pull a little bit more players from different teams.
Well, do it the earlier the better. You start to bid more now. And then
you start a bit. I mean, I don't know, like just don't let that opportunity go wayside because he don't want to stay there and they don't want him to stay there. That's what that sounds like. And it doesn't mean that they're at opposite ends and they don't like each other. It just means like it's once they mention you can go shop somewhere else, you got in the back of your mind that you don't want to be there no more. It's not disrespect, but it wasn't a new contract, right? You know what I'm saying?
And it opens up the idea that maybe they can't. They might want to draft Abdul Carter. Is that his name? From Penn State.
Right.
By the way, he's not requiring surgery. That came out today. So, man, that would be a bold move. That would be an Eagles-like move. If they can't trade down and get Carter instead of one of those quarterbacks, he very well may be the best talent on the board.
I think you use Landry as a trading piece, and you build and you use.
What do you think a guy like Landry would fetch?
At least a second rounder.
That's what I'm thinking, or third.
Yeah, minimum third. I mean, the max would be a second round. Minimum would be third. Like he's a defensive. He's up. He makes the defense better. He's upside. He's
17 games last year, 71 tackles, 9 sacks, 18 pressures. Oh, he's 28. Wow.
Yeah,
you're right. He could get a second rounder.
Yeah, and imagine had the Titans had 2 more players on that D line.
$17.5 million base bonus. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I like Landry, but
he's
want to
good.
get younger.
He's good, but the problem was that he was the only one, right? So it was like with that one year that
you probably could get a second round.
Remember the Derek Thomas, one of those years that he was almost injured a lot, and Neil Smith, like the person next to him got hurt, and then his linebackers, his other, so he wasn't getting as many sacks, and everybody was hurt that year, the Chiefs, and then Joe Montana was off. It was an offense, and the defense wasn't
1994,
good enough. Yeah, remember that it wasn't that they were bad. There was just a lot of injuries, and then it didn't make those guys any better. So you have to have people around you in the defense. Like a guy like Landry, he has to have at least two or three other people on that D line or on the outside that he can just combo with and work off of. He's very talented, but he can only do so much.
Yeah, that's turned into a thing now. Don't you wish the Giants would have said that to Daniel Jones? Won't you go check and see what your market value is?
I'm pretty sure they did that.
Okay, I hope so.
Before they tagged him, there was no takers, and then they tagged him.
They're bidding against themselves otherwise, if that was the truth,
I don't know what they did, man.
Well, he's with Minnesota now, so it's an afterthought. Let's see. What's your thoughts about the Atlanta saying that they want to keep Kirk Cousins? That's a very expensive backup there, man.
Well,
for this year, anyways.
Right. The thing is that if they let him go, it goes against the cap, like $60 million or something like that. If they cut him, like it's it's ridiculous how
I mean,
hard
that's a pretty good job just to kind of back a guy up.
But-
He may be a really good backup for 3 or 4 games. Maybe he is a Ryan Fitzpatrick at this point in his career. He should really think about that and not make a lot of noise if you think.
It tells Penix, here's an opportunity for you to start. If he struggles or even if he has jitters, you put in your quarterback, and you still have Penix back there. So if anything happens again, you can put him back as starter. So it's a good situation for Atlanta. The worst part is that they're overpaying for a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
The best part is that they don't have to look for a backup quarterback because they have one in house. So it's a money situation, and what are you gonna do? Like, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Like, so
They can use another pass rusher.
yeah, but who would be your backup if you got rid of Cousins? And why? And you wouldn't be able to afford him because you just dropped.
You said you're going to take some kind of dead cap hit either way.
Yeah, and there's no deals, for Cousins on the table that's going to be even money to move him to another team.
Yeah.
So
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, that's one of those just wait and see, because somebody's quarterback may go down. He's a plug and play kind of guy.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like the Falcons could have pushed this last year, could have made the push and not gotten Penix and probably gotten 2 or 3 different defenders that they really need right now, and would have been able to at least have one of them from the 3 that they picked up if they didn't get a quarter. You get what I'm saying? Like, they could have moved that pick.
Do you think that maybe the management and staffs thought that maybe Penix didn't look that good down the stretch, and they thought maybe we should keep on the Cousins just to be on the safe side in case Penix goes into a major slump?
Yeah, I think the ownership understands the money play in the situation with the contracts. And the money play is that no matter what Penix does, they don't have to pay him for 3.5.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
but then you can't stack the team and make that. They kind of got themselves in a tough situation.
You made your bed, now you got to sleep in it, man.
They made their bed, now they got to sleep in it.
Some people make the wrong moves, like the Giants who signed the running back and they gave the wrong person the wrong contract.
Right.
And signed the quarterback and ended up trading one and cutting the other. So you when you make these decisions, there are consequences. So, and that's part of the beauty of the business of the NFL, that the fans irk the fans, right? Because the fans want to see competitiveness and they want to see players max out their and play out and have some of the best players, but you don't have enough to get that, right? So
that's true.
It is what it is, man. Like,
yeah,
what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's true. The Knicks, it seems like they can't beat the good teams, man.
Well, they won last night, and that's what matters. They do. No, I'm just kidding. Listen,
who they play last night?
Last night they were playing, and I watched it too, and it was a Philadelphia.
Oh, well, yeah, Philly. Go figure. There was a report today that they were really trying to go hard after Embiid and wanting to give up a lot of picks for Embiid. Glad they didn't. What a bullet they dodged, right?
I told you from day one that if they ever go for Embiid, they will never be in a playoff position.
They're 0-7 against the Celtics, Cavs, and Thunder.
Yeah,
they're 11-14 against teams above 500, 26-6 against below 500. My take on it is, I haven't had a live show all week. Is it looks like Towns is just underwhelming defensively, and it's just a big hole there with him defensively. He always wants to hang out of and I thought that Tibbs would get that out of him, and so far he has not got that out of him, and it looks like this is going to be a disappointment, man. What do you think about that?
I mentioned it from the day one. It wasn't a big difference from what Randall was doing for what you get Cats for. It was more of a contract situation and easier to move and deal with. You still got a top tier player, but now he's an all-star and he's not, and he's been there a few times. He's a better teammate than Randall, who had more injuries and just couldn't deal with the minutes. And the biggest thing is Tibbs will not move forward, will not move on from the way that he coaches and plays these guys way too many minutes and underutilizes his players who are young. Like last year was like an epiphany, and it was a situation that he was forced to use all these guys on his bench, even the young ones, and he was able to move through the season and have this and be competitive. I keep saying this. The Knicks are about two players short. Everybody, oh well, they have this guy and they have this guy. Yeah, it don't matter. They have too many injuries. And
would they be better off if they would have just kept Hartenstein and not made this trade?
They would have been better off if they just figure out the situation that it's not the players, it's the coach. The coach did this in Chicago. He did this in Minnesota, and he's doing it now again for the New York Knicks. Like, he needs to move on, because it's not about the minutes in the sense where, you gotta,
what coach would you like to see him get with this roster now?
I mean,
or would you like to see him make a move and dump Towns?
No, I mean,
that'd be in the off season, obviously.
They can make moves, and I mean, it's hard to say who with the team that they have. I don't know. I feel like even like someone like Mark what's his name,
Jackson.
Mark Jackson would have been okay because and I say it because
former Nick,
his basketball IQ is high. His coaching is he's always been a decent coach, and this is a team that you don't have to coach up. You just have to guide. These guys flow. They get in and out of situations. They pick it up defensively. The thing that's killing them right now is the amount of minutes that they're pouring into the main five players. Like, again, two of the players went out. They have come back. They've come back yesterday. And Prince and what's this guy's name?
They got Torrent Prince on that team?
Huh?
They got Torrent Prince?
No, they got Prince of I forgot his last name, but they have two players come back last night, and
okay,
and
now is Mitchell Robinson supposed to be back this weekend?
Yeah, that's Mitchell Robinson and Achua came back.
Oh, okay.
So you saw again him giving them major minutes. It's like, bro, they're just getting back, slide them in 10, 15 minutes, don't go over 20, 30 minutes, and they're playing almost 30 minutes, and you're like, what? They just got back, and then you saw that they were pressing, and they were winning in the third quarter. They were up by 5, almost could have got up by 10, and then all of a sudden these guys are still in. They're coming for recuperating. They shouldn't have been on the court, Yeah. And so those things, man, you can see it, and you're like, why this coach? Why does he keep doing this?
Yeah.
I understand.
My guess is I don't think they can beat Cleveland right now.
And you know what the thing with Cleveland is?
Forget about Boston.
Cleveland has a problem, and their problem is they shoot way too many threes. And if they get caught up in that game, they're going to be like Boston of 2 years ago or 3 years ago, where they live by the three and they die by the three, and they couldn't get past that last.
Yeah, that's my next question. By the way, so the Knicks, what is your thoughts on this team? Early exit. Does Thibodeau to get the boot? Does he take the fall?
So if
in defense, by the way,
if they can. If they can manage this, if they can manage this rotation better, and if they can manage the minutes, they can go deep into a playoff run. But if you're
saying there's still a chance because these guys are coming back.
Yeah, they have a huge chance.
They can turn it around in the next 5 weeks or so.
Yeah, they're not far from being a very competitive team that can win. The problem what they have is right now is the management of the timing, the play these guys play, and then the injuries that they had, and now their injuries. These guys are coming back for injury, so the depth and the talent is there, but you got to be able to finesse it,
put it all together.
Remember, I said you got to have at least 9 deep when you go into a championship run.
It would be nice to be 9 deep, yeah.
Yeah, and they're right now they're
reserves. So that would be perfect.
Yeah,
because everybody sizes their bench up
right
the playoffs. I agree with everything. You said on that one, man. That's just about right. I will say this though. That was going to be my next question. Yeah, Cleveland. Mind you, Cleveland. They were 1-2. They're 1-2 against Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Best record in the league. Remember last year they lost Jared Allen, and they still got a game on Boston in that series. They lost in 5. They've got Kenny Atkinson now as the head coach, better than Bickerstaff. They're 2-0 against the Knicks. They're 2-0, 3-0 against Milwaukee, 2-0 against the Knicks. I didn't think anybody could win big with Donovan Mitchell, but yeah, I mean, I got to give them credit, man. They look really sharp. Best record in the league, I want to say, by 1 game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, what I like is that everything's not running through Donovan Mitchell, and they have a lot of young guys.
That's always good to say.
Right. They have a lot of young guys there, and a lot of them are fierce and competitive, and you could just see like they attack the basket and they play hard defense. I don't like that they'll take wild threes, but that's just the way the game is set up nowadays.
Yeah,
they'll take those shots, and I was impressed when they played the Knicks a few weeks ago. Or was it last week? That they were shooting and but they were making the shots, like, So, but then if you're a coach, you got to be like, man, attack the basket, and if they give you the 3, take the 3. But they have a lot of younger guys in there that can get up, get the rebounds, get in the paint, make baskets, and they're very fierce like that, and they need to focus on that. If they depend on the 3, if they go back there and start passing the ball past 16 feet and force the 3s up, you can't. You can win like that, but then you have to shoot a lot more 3s.
And they had Dean Wade, by the way, one of those 3-point shooters, got hurt last year also, and now he's back. I think they could push Boston to 6 games in the Eastern Conference.
Oh, definitely, yeah. They're right now. The only problem they have is they need to focus, and if they have the team on the ropes, keep attacking the basket, and get your easy points. Don't make the game hard, man. Because the problem is the running and throwing, and the game's already too fast, and they're not going to slow it down. So don't make it hard. Just get the 2 points, and just move on. Like I see them in one possession, they're taking about 2 or 3 shots, bro. It's like, it's crazy.
The fact that they won a series last year, and these guys are a little bit older. Allen's an older player. Mitchell's an older player. I know Mobley's young. Who's the other guy? Garland or whatever?
They got 2 guys up there, yeah. And then,
I mean, they got some young cats, but they got a good mix of older vets too.
Right.
They
just got to be careful. That's all. That's like they get too willy-nilly over there, and it's.
So you do think they could make a run?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. The same here. What's your thoughts about that Luka Doncic, man? Playing against his old team the other night. That was intense. I recorded that game and watched it at 5:00 in the morning the other day. That was intense, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and I think it was that energy because it was his first game against his old team. I don't feel like the Lakers can play that way every game, right?
Okay.
Because it's like it was situational. Now, mind you, I sat here and when we talked about the Luka trade, they'll make it to the playoffs. They're not going to go far, but they'll make it to the playoffs.
Even after blowing out Denver the other night.
Yeah,
last week or whatever.
Yeah, it's they might make the first round, bro.
Yeah.
But after that, it's the season. The playoffs is long, and I don't know if LeBron has enough gas in the tank to carry the team. And I say that
the national media is hyped up on the Lakers, and I'm like you. I still think LeBron's going to wear down.
Right.
Luka's still trying to get in full shape here, and he's coming back from that injury. I got a feeling he could be pushing it really hard. He's got a chip on his shoulder, which is a good thing, but maybe he could mess around and re-injure himself.
How about this? Let's play a numbers game. How many points does LeBron have to have every game where Luka just has to have his part enough to win games? How many?
I'm thinking about 25 off the top of
my
head.
So LeBron has to average 25 points a game, right?
Yeah.
Right
and
now,
get
he's
about
averaging
10 to 14 assists for Luka, which I think he had 12 the other night.
Doesn't LeBron average this season? Isn't he averaging about 22, 21, 22?
I'll have to look and see.
So
he does it in spurts, though.
Right. No, yeah, he's
because
not.
of his age, man.
Right, but like, can we say that Luka would have to score at least 30 points to win?
No, maybe in the playoffs.
That's what I'm
But
talking
Luka's
about.
playing
I'm
the
talking about
quarterback
playoffs.
role, though.
Yeah, I'm not talking about any. I'm talking about playoffs. So that means
Playoffs. I'm thinking. I don't think he has to do that. I think he needs about 18, and he needs
Luka?
about 12 to 14. Luka's going to get that triple double, or for them to be successful, he needs to be. I think what JJ Redick said was right. He's the quarterback, and it realized like, hey, I like being receiver, but I'm thinking, where's the size going to come from? Dallas had. I think if you really watch that game closely, if they had Lively back or Gifford or both, forget about Anthony Davis. They win that game.
Yeah,
they win that game in LA. If you ask me.
No, you're right.
Kyrie and Klay Thompson and who PJ Washington played.
Right, but Robert, okay, let's say you're gonna get 20 points from LeBron.
Yeah.
Okay, right off the bat, what is the minimum that Luka has to score?
So far, I would probably say about 18.
18. So let's
16,
say
18.
LeBron gives you 20 to 25. Luka gives you 18 to 25. Okay, let's. Who's
you got Austin Reeves can get you 20.
Austin Reeves is not going to give you 20 points every game.
Well,
he can.
Hachimura, you still got Kincaid. They got shooters, man.
So they're going to need 3 players to average.
And by the way, those guys are getting wide open shots.
They
missed some open shots the other night.
They missed a lot of open shots. That's what I'm saying. It's like
the fact that they're getting that many, that's not good for everybody else.
But they're not making them either, though.
No, but you can't get those kind of looks. You're going to make them more than you're going to miss them. It just depends on who they draw, man. But I don't know who I'm going to have to really study this to see. I think, who was it that just came back? Chet Holmgren. What's the guy's name from OKC?
Chet.
Yeah. And in Harkenstein, I wonder how they're going to play well together, how that size is going to match up against the Lakers who don't have AD now. They should beat the Lakers, but the Lakers got that experience, and Luka can go on his spurts where he can carry the team.
If they draw Golden State, who wins that series?
Man, I'll have to really study that because Butler's playing really well with Golden State. I just got a feeling these older teams are going to fall apart in the playoffs, man. Golden State's older. The Lakers with LeBron. What if the LeBron goes down? Then you don't have no size. You got Luka carrying these guys.
It's back to Luka carrying the team, which we saw what happens when he carries the team.
Yeah, but Dallas has a lot more size. See, Dallas just caught a bad break. I think the fans. I picked up a lady in Uber the other day. Man, she's ticked at Dallas, man. She's from Dallas. She's a big fan of Mavericks. And she says, yeah, we want that guy out of here. Quite frankly, we wouldn't mind if this lady sold the team. I said, what about selling them back to Mark Cuban? And she said, well, I don't know if he could afford it, Maybe he spent the money elsewhere. So that's an interesting – so they're really, really ticked about this. They're ticked about this the way that Adam Struck was ticked about A.J. Brown getting traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. And then they go into the Super Bowl. So I don't know, man. I'm still in the general manager's corner that he's made a lot of good trades up to this point, Nico Harrison. Wish he could have gotten more. But if you watch that game, they had Lively and Gafford. Man, if they'd have had Davis, they would have won that game going away, don't you think?
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
They would have went up there and beat the Lakers.
Because they were just trying to find a way.
That was a 1-point game at one time. I think it was
they were
tied
trying to
before
find a way to
quarter.
stay in a race with the Mavs, but the Mavs kept missing shots. You know.
Well, you could only get so much out of Klay Thompson and Kyrie. I mean, they had no size whatsoever. I didn't know Gafford was down, Lively's down, and AD's down. That's all your size.
That's all your bigs.
All your bigs, you know. I mean, it's really unfortunate for Dallas. And you just hate to see the Lakers fall into this like this, man. But
it's not going to be. It's not going to be.
Charlotte had a good point, though. That guy played the other day. The guy that couldn't pass the Lakers, air quote, physical.
Physical, right.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man.
They got nothing. They got no other option but to play him, so that way he gets minutes, so they can move him somewhere else. If
in the off season,
if it goes down that way, right?
Yeah. I'm curious to see how this thing plays out. Now, if the Lakers hold that 4 seed, they would have home court advantage. I don't know, man. Kincaid, Reeves. That's some pretty good shooters there. It's pretty good guys there.
If they're the ones that are going to have to pull up the rear, they got to be a little bit more consistent. That's all.
Yeah. But anywho, did you see that other story about the guys, Jordan Schultz? This is funny story, man. Talking about that Tom Brady meeting up with Matt Stafford story. Jordan Schultz is, I think he works with, I think he's independent, but he comes on Fox Sports a lot. His dad is Howard Schultz, one of the big pushers behind Starbucks.
Right. And
he's now like an NFL story breaker, kind of like Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport. And him and Ian Rappaport got into an altercation at a Starbucks, ironically, in Indianapolis where the Combine's at. Over, Rappaport said, or this guy reported, that Brady set that meeting up, which could be borderline tampering. You know, Brady's an owner of the Raiders, and he's also works for Fox as a commentator. But the reports are, obviously, the Rams gave him carte blanche to seek this trade. And Rappaport says, with, NFL Network, he reported that, no, that was just a coincidence they met up in Montana. That's what his agent said. And this guy confronted, this is like something off of a comedy movie. He confronted at Rappaport inside of a Starbucks on this. And the NFL security was reported. That must have been, that's kind of funny, they're competing over the stories, man.
I just saw that information. Like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah, that tells you Schultz is pretty competitive, like his dad. The guy's born on third base. He's probably billionaire, right. But he's pretty good. This was an interesting story here. But Rappaport thought he just had to compete with Adam Schefter. Now he's got a new kid in town that's keeping him on top of that. Now, Rappaport's slipping here lately. He's been posting a lot of videos of him and that wife of his. I think he's kind of fallen more into that mold rather than being locked in like an Adrian Wojciechowski for the NBA or an Adam Schefter,
Being on the beats.
He's not quite on it. By the way, I don't know if you saw, this came out just about an hour ago or a little bit late. James Pierce from Tennessee ran a 4.540. He's the defensive end for the Vols.
Right.
Man, that's wild, ain't it?
Jeez, man. What this guy is drinking, man?
He's only about 250. He's really thin. Ball player. And then there was an Auburn linebacker that ran like a 4.49. Yeah.
If you're like about to get signed by a team,
yeah,
you look for that Gatorade, for that sports drink, man.
Yeah.
Oof.
Man, what do you think about this guy, Tyler Warren? He met up with the Titans today. He's 6'6", 257, first team All-American. That's at Penn State tight end. Boy, wouldn't he look good with wouldn't you if you're Kansas? By the way, folks, Travis Kelce is going to come back next year, like we said.
Yeah.
I mean, that's already Pat McAfee said he texted me. I'm like, yeah, like you said, he wants to get that one more year of a paycheck. Not that he needs it. Going to go up there and drag her. I mean, my opinion, he may be doing some illegal stuff to keep his body up and running. But wouldn't it be nice if you're Kansas City? Would you make a move and trade up and get this Tyler Warren kid, number 44 from Penn State, to be the replacement of Travis Kelce?
I'm not sure if he's going to.
He might outfall a 31, could he?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he'll be there to pick up. But, I mean, you got this guy coming into the draft, and they talking about him like he's Gronk. Like, that's.
Are they really?
Yeah,
he
man.
Looks like a smaller player.
They said
he's 6'6". I guess he's always running low like a fullback.
Right.
I didn't realize that, but they've got him in here listed as 6'6" here from this ML football page that I follow.
I mean, they're talking that he might go in the top 10. Like,
yeah. Well, those Penn State players have been playing out pretty well here lately.
I will say this: if the Giants go out and get this guy,
they're not going to get him.
I'm not saying it's a wasted pick. I'm just going to be like,
if you could get him in that top of that second round, maybe.
Yeah, you got to move down, bro. If you're the Giants, sell the pick and move down. Get out of there. I don't think there's any pick.
A lot of people saying the Giants going to take Travis Hunter because they need a corner.
Oh, man, that makes my heart hurt.
Would you sell the pick and get that corner out of Michigan, who's also arguably a better cover corner than Travis Hunter, but not the dual threat?
This is the NFL draft. You don't know who the heck is going to come out and be the next superstar. You really don't. If you're the Giants,
although we thought Malik Neighbors would be good, he turned out to be a baller.
We knew he was okay. Look, I just say if you're the Giants, get you some 8 to 10 players and get you some depth. You could try to go for that number one player, man. Like, you're not going to be a number one team next year. Like, you're just not. You or the Jets are not going to be in the top 10 of the 32 teams in the NFL next year. You're not. So make yourself a good bet and just sell and pick up some depth. That's it. What
if Sanders just fell to the Jets at 7? They didn't have to do no trades or nothing because that's been talked about. Mel Kiper had him at 7 in his mock draft.
Yeah, I don't think he'll go to 7, but
that's something you got to look into if you're Jets management. By the way, the NFL.
Sell your picks, bro. Sell your picks. You got so many holes to fill.
The Jets? No, they don't. They don't got that many holes. They need a quarterback. That's about it.
They need a quarterback. No, they still need a few linemen on the defense and the offense.
Oh, because Quentin Williams says he's not sure where the team's
going.
And
then they need another guy in the linebacker position.
Yeah, they're a little weak at linebacker.
They also need maybe one more defensive back or cornerback. They could. You cannot say no to depth, bro. Like, and especially if you don't have. They didn't really say what their plan was either. So, I need a plan. I need to hear what these guys have. What is
the players voted? The NFLPA. The players voted an F grade for Woody Johnson. I think he's the only owner that got an F.
I'm sure he's read that. I was like, well, that's just great. That just means I'm doing a fantastic job. I already told you how I felt about Woody Johnson.
And that the ironic thing, they voted Stephen whatever his name is, the guy from Miami, he got an A+.
He got an A+.
And remember, back in the day, he was arguably one of the worst owners
Ross
in the league. It's like, so he's made some changes here.
Wasn't he the one who met with Tom Brady on a ship outside of the?
Yeah, something like that. Or
supposedly.
supposedly.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Whatever. What are we doing here? What are we?
Maybe because he's probably hooked the players up with big checks, and I don't know, man. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell with. But anyways, you got anything to plug, man?
Yes. So I'm gonna drop a few articles on the Mad New Yorker on Facebook and for baseball.
Baseball. Gotcha.
For the Mets today, for the Yankees tomorrow, and then I'm gonna try to set up that show with the football this coming week. I mean, there's about 25 more days till season starts, so we got a little bit of time. But I'll talk about some New York baseball with some people to get excited about. After spring training, see what these guys can do up in the real ballparks with the real wind and the real weather and all those cancellations that happen in March because in April because it's still not really like warm yet. But
don't you think that they should start the season in March 1st?
Oh, jeez.
To me, they should start the season Saturday. Now maybe they play in the South somewhere. They play at Tampa the first few series. And then maybe California, Southern Cal somewhere.
Like 2 seasons ago, they started and it was a snowstorm in Colorado, so they canceled like 2 weeks of baseball.
Yeah, Colorado's a little wild.
Yeah, so it was like.
But they were already playing baseball for college.
Yeah, they've been playing already. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I believe the NMB, they should start a month early. If they don't want to shave off games, I get it, but it would be nice to start it now. Start at March 1st, have the World Series in September, not October. There's too much going on in October. There's too much confusion for the fans, and it makes the games more important in July, when nobody's watching anything.
Yeah, I liked it when the Philly fans were so upset that they lost and that they were losing in the playoffs. That they had a football game. I think it was like the Monday night, or was it?
Oh, really?
And then they most of them were at the football game. We're like, we're not going to the baseball.
Yeah, but the Mets did beat them though.
So we're not going
to. You don't hear that, but I love that.
I don't. No,
that was your World Series right there, wasn't it?
Man, I'm gonna tell you what. I don't celebrate World Series until I'm in a World Series, bro. So
yeah,
it's been a while. It's been a while. So
yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. All right,
it's been a while as a Mets fan, but we were there last year with the Yankees, and the Dodgers is just eating them up. So that was tough.
That was a pretty good World Series. Oh, they hired Don Mattingly back.
Yep, Donnie Baseball's back in New York, which I think it's like a setup,
that defense up after that 6th inning in the World Series.
I know, right?
Yeah,
yeah. He's always been a good coach. He's a good guy to have on a bench. Good character guy. He builds a team up a little bit. I think it's a good move for the Yankees because it allows the talk to dim down a little bit, right? They're going to go more to talk to see what Donnie Baseball thinks and talk to the regular manager. You know what I'm saying?
Mr. Baseball.
It'll help a little bit.
Yeah, he's always seemed to be approachable, man.
Right.
All right, everybody. Carlos, Mad New Yorker, Chavez. Let's have a round of applause. All right, man. Appreciate you, brother. Have a good one.